Hey everybody, it's Aldo Gandhi, and I just want to let you know really quickly that our swag shop is reopened. DeepDishTees.com is where you go, and that's tees with T-E-E-S. Clever name, guys. They're the new home of our merchandise. You can get t-shirts, you can get caps, you can get coffee mugs, you can get hoodies, you can get all sorts of good stuff, and you'll help out the bar room with the purchase. So head over to DeepDishTees.com.
What's up and welcome back to BarDown Blackhawk Talk, episode number 15, presented by the Barroom Network. My name is Vinnie Parise, and I'm here with Joey Parise. And Joseph, what's your favorite kind of beer?
Favorite kind of beer?
For those who don't know, these questions that I used to open the show, Joey has no clue what's coming.
Yeah, I don't. I have no idea. Favorite kind of beer? I'm a New England IPA kind of guy. Right on brand, but I mean, I just love those. They taste so damn good. Milkshake IPAs, I love. I'm like that. I'm the hoppy, bitter kind of guy. Like, I like a good, beer.
I like Santiago's answer. He's one of those guys who's like, yo, Santiago, what's your favorite kind of beer? He goes, mine.
Yeah, exactly. and you can't go wrong with that. Like a hot summer day, you just want something like, citrusy. You're out partying, you just want to crush a bunch of light beers. You're out to dinner, you want something nice and, thick, hoppy to go with that dinner. I don't know. So it depends on the situation, but I love that answer, any kind of beer.
I'm assuming if you had a preference on presentation of beer, you prefer draft.
I do, yeah. I mean, that's a no-brainer as well. But also that nice, I prefer bottle over a can.
Same.
A lot of people, some people like the can better. Some people like those aluminum bottles better. I like a glass bottle. I feel like it gets the coldest and stays the coldest. I don't know. It's really all preference.
I'm with you. Although there's one can, and I think you know where I'm going to go with this. There's one can that is just better looking than every other can, and that's great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. What are your thoughts on the classic white can with the wheat logo?
I think it's a little boring. I'm not going to lie. It's just a little boring. My favorite can is probably Coors, and that's probably one of my lower tier.
Can?
Huh?
That ugly gray can?
Yeah, but the fact that it changes, the mountains turn blue when it's cold, that's genius marketing.
Do you wear light up shoes too?
The mountains change, and right now they got the glasses with the summer. It says chill. The Coors Light can, I like that it's its unique shape. Everyone knows the Coors Light can when they see it. But it's actually one of my bottom tier light beers. So
yeah, Coors Light stinks unless they sponsor us.
Unless they sponsor, I'll get a Coors neon sign or something.
Yeah, the one with the NHL logos. But dude, great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. Beautiful classic can, delicious taste. On draft, it's amazing. You just sucks you can't get them at the Sox game.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me one bit because when I go to the Sox game, that place is. You go there, you're drinking the Revolutions. They got the 312s. They have all local breweries and cans. I love drinking at the Sox game.
The beer selection there is better than any major league stadium in any sport I've been to.
Yeah, they got quite the selection.
Yeah, if you like beer, Guaranteed Rate Field is the place to go for a ball game. Yeah, I would probably say you didn't even mention my favorite kind of beer, besides Miller Lite, of course, is just any of the sours. Sour beer something I'm into. I know you're not the biggest fan, but they're good every now and then, especially the ones that like make your lips pucker a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely not my beer of choice, but I mean, I guess depending on the mood and how much I've already drank, and I would enjoy one.
Yeah, we have a pal, Brian, who we know he just absolutely loves sours. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
So, there was some good beer conversation, which I'm sure there'll be plenty of beer depending on the outcome of tonight's game. So why don't we get it over to period number 1 where we start talking about the Stanley Cup final.
Quick side note, I actually have on tap tonight some of those Lagunitas Summertime. If you haven't tried those, it's a light IPA that's just perfect for those hot summer days. I know we don't have the best weather right now. It's a little rainy and shitty, but that was my beer on 4th of July, and I loved it.
Is it rainy and bad outside? I haven't even noticed.
It is, yeah.
I have not left this room since I woke up other than to go to the bathroom, simply because I've just been getting ready for this show and covering the White Sox game, who are currently winning 5-1 in the top of the 6th. So I haven't even gone to the gym yet. That's a post-game, post-show type of deal. So I'm completely ignorant to what's going on outside right now.
All good. We have one thing at focus, and that's, I believe, 5 hours from now, which is Game 5, Stanley Cup Final. How did we get here?
How did we get here? The Tampa Bay Lightning currently lead the series by a count of 3-1. They went up 3-0 in the series, and Montreal forced Game 5 by winning in overtime on, I don't even know what day of the week it was. It was
Friday.
Monday night. No, it was Monday night.
Oh, yeah, today's Wednesday. Monday.
Yeah. There was an extra long break because of the holiday. I don't know if they did that on purpose. And
it
I know
feels like it's been 2 weeks since we've done a show. I don't know. This week has gone so slow at it.
It really has.
Feel that way?
Pick up the pace a little bit. This summer bull crap is really getting annoying.
I noticed that when we were watching Loki, I was like, if it feels, shout out Loki, one of our favorite shows right now. When we were watching, I was like, I feel like it's been forever since we watched a damn episode. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, Monday, Montreal. It was probably the most entertaining game of the series. And Montreal, they got heavily outplayed in the first half of the game. And they ended up having an early lead in the third period. By early, I mean early in the third. And then Tampa Bay tied it up. Patrick Maroon trying to win his 3rd straight Stanley Cup. And it's just crazy to me that they were able to get the game won, Montreal. They took that power play late in the game. And it was a 4-minute major to our pal Shea Weber. And they killed it off. They got it done for their captain while he was in the box. I'd like to know what your thoughts are on the way Montreal ended that game and ended up forcing Game 5.
Yeah, it was probably one of the only moments I kind of felt bad for a Canadian during this series. I really felt bad for Shea Weber because, like, you just look at him sitting in the box toward the end of the game and the disappointment knowing, like, okay, we just gave the Tampa Bay Lightning a chance to win the Stanley Cup here, and it's directly my fault. It was just a fluke, high sticking call or high sticking penalty. It was a good call. But,
he knew too.
Yeah, he knew too. And you just have to go and put your head down in the box after that one. And luckily his team was able to, acknowledge how terrible he felt and made sure that this wasn't the reason that they went out. And they did that for him. And, credit to them because Shea Weber is probably one of their best penalty killers they have. So, I mean, that could be a turning point in the series, but I think it's a little too late to call it a turning point.
You can't let your opponent win the Stanley Cup on your ice with your captain in the box. That just cannot happen.
Yeah.
And the fact that you mentioned he is their best penalty killer, you can argue he's their best player. And just the fact that they killed off the 4 minutes, it was like nothing I've ever seen before, because in order to be good on the penalty kill, you need what?
Goalie.
Your goalie needs to be your
goalie, which they have probably like the best guy in the playoffs right now, and Carey
Price made some phenomenal saves on guys like Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov. Stamkos had a chance. All the big boys on the Lightning, they're going to do these things when they are on the power play, whether it's the regular season, the preseason, the Stanley Cup final. The big boys on Tampa Bay are going to show up. And, they're a large reason why you even have a hat like you're wearing right now, the Stanley Cup Championship hat of 2020. They were great in the bubble. And things really never slowed down for them once the regular season got going. And you saw it on the power play. They almost won the Stanley Cup 3 times on that power play.
Yeah. So last week I said, where will we be a week from now talking about today? And I told you it will be Game 5. The Lightning will be up 3-1, and we'll be getting ready to watch the Stanley Cup championship presentation. And that game on Monday was just set up for that to happen because the Tampa Bay Lightning had so many chances to win in a game that it just wasn't going for them. You knew Montreal was going to win one. They hit the post like 4 or 5 times. They got goals from Barclay Goodrow and Pat Maroon, who each haven't scored in 15-plus games. The big guys didn't score, and they outplayed and outshot the Montreal Canadiens, and the Canadiens still won. So a sweep is very hard, but that just kind of should segue right into how confident I am going forward for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
The Habs do not quit.
They don't, but they're still not enough for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Every matchup, there's going to be matchups where one team just gets the win. Regardless of how it is, the lesser team can get the win. And Monday's game was an example of that. No matter how much non-quit they have, it'll never be enough because in a game where they had that non-quit mentality, they still almost lost.
Yeah, and period number 2, I'm going to throw some stats at you that make me feel like Montreal definitely can get a little more back into the series. I don't know if they're going to win, obviously, but there are just some things that tell me not to just completely count them out yet. And regardless of how the Stanley Cup final goes, we will have a Stanley Cup champion by our next show. I looked ahead at the schedule. It's crazy that we're here at this point with these two teams, both of them being in the Eastern Conference. I just think the way Montreal got through Toronto after being down 3-1 to them, who Toronto's a better team than Montreal. I think we could both agree on that. They rolled through the Winnipeg Jets, swept them. And then they beat the Vegas Golden Knights, who if the Vegas Golden Knights were playing the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Stanley Cup final right now, we'd be back and forth. Vegas in 6, Tampa in 7. Every person would have a different opinion. You might not. You might have that dumb smile on your face while rocking your stupid Lightning hat. But a lot of people would pick Vegas, and you know it.
And then 3 games into the series, they'd be like, no one can match up with Tampa Bay. I don't think any team would be playing. It would be in a different scenario than the Montreal Canadiens right now. This Tampa Bay Lightning team is historically good. What I mean by that, they are one of the best teams on ice in this modern era.
But we said that about the Colorado Avalanche a couple weeks ago. So were we just wrong?
Yeah, they are one of the greater teams. I never said Tampa was better or wasn't better. When having their full lineup that they are icing right now, they are the best team, and it's not even close.
Well, that we could talk about this in period 1. There's really no period between the preview or the post game that fits it better. Are you mad that they basically cheated?
No, I'm not mad one bit. They had to get.
I'm not even saying cheated not like they're using spider tack or like baseball type cheating.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it cheating. I would not even call it cheating.
There are people that call it cheating.
It's not cheating one bit. I don't know how someone.
Is it against the rules to have a $97 million payroll?
No. If it was, it wouldn't be happening. They wouldn't have ever agreed in the collective.
They manipulated it for the regular season.
You can't just assume that they manipulated it.
Kucherov was ready.
He
was miraculously ready for game 1 of the playoffs.
Why not wait till you're 110%? Maybe he's not even 100%.
So then you can have an extra $20 million on your cap. That's why.
Okay, but what is so wrong with that?
I'm mad about it.
Well, guys, 5 minutes each for fighting.
You seem mad about it.
No, I'm not mad about it because if anything, the Lightning, they learned from the Hawks, who did the exact same thing in 2015 against them. Patrick Kane was out. He had his little shoulder thing. and then he was miraculously ready for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs against Nashville.
Did they have a successful regular season without those guys?
It was just Kucherov.
And then Stamkos at the end of the year.
Yeah.
They still were good.
No, but they weren't as good. They probably would have won the Central Division if Kucherov played.
I still think the Tampa Bay Lightning would be in the Stanley Cup if Kucherov never came back this year.
Maybe. I don't know if I can co-sign that. No, I actually strongly disagree. He's the he's the third player ever to have back-to-back 30-point playoffs. The first two were Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm not going to sit here and act like
anyone would pick up the side. Who knows if Stamkos would be up?
Not 30 points, no.
You don't think even Stamkos could pick up that side? Because Braden Point was still there. Braden Point has been probably...
I'm not saying they're not a great team. It's hard for me to just lock it in that they would make the Stanley Cup final if they didn't have the guy with 30-something points. No.
I think they still would be there.
He's going to win the Conn Smythe Trophy with ease.
So. Either him or Point. Or Vasilevsky. If Vasilevsky gets a shutout tonight, it's him.
Yeah, but Braden Point doesn't have a goal in the Stanley Cup final yet. And he hasn't had a... We'll get into the future. I have it written down. He doesn't have a point since Game 1. So I think it's Kucherov. I'd consider giving it to Kucherov if they lose. When you're in any kind of conversation with Mario and Wayne, you got to be up there. But no, I don't think Tampa Bay would be in the Stanley Cup final. I had Florida beating them in the first round. That was dumb.
Yeah, what a clown you are.
It was Game 7.
A clown.
Tampa dominated Game 7, but no, it's not a clown move.
It is a clown move.
It's not a clown move. I didn't assume Nikita Kucherov would come back from injury and basically be the next coming of, the greatest player ever, Gordie Howe, Wayne Gretzky, whoever you think it is. You can't just assume that guy would come back.
And be like normal Nikita Kucherov? Why not?
Well, that's just more proof that he was healthy all along.
Or he's just waiting to get to 100% health.
Yeah, right in time for Game 1 of the playoffs. He was at 99% in the final game, and by Game 1, he was at 100%. Yeah, don't be naive. Do not be naive.
Even if he was 100%,
I'm not mad about it.
He did play a regular season game, didn't he? So
Well, guys, 5 minutes each for fighting.
It was Steven Stamkos.
Have you ever gotten 2 in the same period?
I don't know. It was Steven Stamkos, I believe, who went into the playoffs on IR.
Yeah, did they switch?
I think they swapped.
I mean, listen, Breezewall should win GM of the year for manipulating the cap. If people don't like it, they should renegotiate the rule in the CBA. I'm not mad.
Manipulating the cap is a better way to put it. Cheating isn't the right way.
No, I don't consider it cheating.
Cheating is when you do something against the rules. They have played within the rules.
Yes. I'm not the one who called it cheating. I used the word cheating just because that's what I've read online. And if you type in Tampa Bay Lightning cheating on Twitter, it will come up and there will be thousands and thousands of tweets on it. But I mean, I'm not against it. Montreal fans, they're bitter because they're losing. But
you don't think if Carey Price was ailing from the deadline and he wanted to get 100%, they would throw him on the IR, let Jake Allen play, and hopefully they'd still do. And then Carey Price comes in and boom, $10 million right back in the lineup.
Well,
that could allow them to sign maybe a Taylor Hall or someone just
trade for them. Yeah, 100%. That would be
or trade during the deadline. So they would have done the same thing.
The same thing. Patrick Kane hurt his clavicle, I believe it was, and they traded for Antoine Vermette and Chemo Timonen and Fleischmann and Weiss, and basically that entire thing. All of them made up Patrick Kane's contract, and then boom, he was ready for Game 1 of the playoffs. I understand. And they beat the Lightning, who, if I remember correctly, were not happy about it back then. And they were like, all right, fine, we'll do it too. When Nikita Kucherov went into the offseason after the bubble, a little hurt and needed some surgery, it was pretty obvious. So.
And don't forget, the Lightning, they came in third in their division, but they were only 5 points away from first. And Florida and Carolina, those teams are good. But
no doubt.
The Tampa Bay Lightning.
Tampa Bay, when Kucherov is healthy, has 3 top 20 players.
Yeah, those top 3 teams in that division might have been the most all around. I mean, it's pretty close, but you get what I'm saying. And the fact that the Tampa
Vegas, Colorado, Boston, and Vegas the Islanders in there, and those are
I'm saying the divisional top 3 teams.
Oh yeah, they were probably the deepest in terms of 3, but the
Yeah.
division wasn't very deep at all
No, I know.
because
But-
Columbus, Chicago, and Detroit were horrible.
My point is Tampa Bay was able to get that and have such a successful season without Nikita Kucherov. So
Yeah, and they're going to win the Stanley Cup for the second year in a row.
Yeah.
More than likely. But we'll get into that in period.
they
number
will
2, but-
tonight. I hope you're ready. You bust out the tears. You know, we always enjoy watching that Gary Bettman come out and award the Stanley Cup. I can't wait. I already got I'm ordering my hat. Do you want one? Do you want a hat?
Has Montreal done anything to impress you against the Lightning at all? Besides be there?
I was impressed with the 4-minute penalty kill. That was about it. That was the first time I was like, wow, Montreal is going to actually put up a game. But I'll wait till we get to period 2. But yeah, that's about the only thing.
You couldn't have wanted a sweep as a hockey fan, though, right?
Oh, I 100% did.
Why?
Because why not? if what's the difference between a sweep and a 5 game?
Stanley Cup final?
Yeah, the Stanley Cup final. I'll be honest, this has been one of the worst Stanley Cup finals in my time watching.
A trash ending to a really good playoffs. And fans are starting to get back in the buildings.
I think the sweep adds a little, I think it being a sweep would have added a little spice to it. Now what? We got a boring 5-game finish.
A gentleman's sweep.
Yeah. Now if it's a reverse sweep, talk about fucking exciting. I'll eat my shoes.
Yeah, actually, I mean, there's really not much to say from the first. The first game already had happened on our last show, and then in Game 2, Tampa Bay won 3-1. Game 3, Tampa Bay won 6-3, and then we talked about the Montreal 3-2 overtime victory in Game 4. It's been a mostly Tampa dominant series because even the game Montreal won, Tampa Bay kind of owned them. So I don't know. Let's preview what.
Before you send it to period 2, one thing I'll leave you off with period 1 and the first 4 games we've seen so far, and it's my big key to Game 5 tonight. Every team that's won scored first.
For that, we send you over to period number 2. Okay, period number 2, we're going to actually preview Game 5, and then, if necessary, Game 6 and 7. You stole some of my thunder. I had that written down. 4-0 is the team who scores first in the Stanley Cup final, but there's more to it than that. Montreal in the playoffs are 12-2 when they score first. Tampa Bay is 15-2. So that means they have scored first in every single one of their wins except one combined. Montreal has one win where they didn't score first. I can't actually recall which game it was. Thinking back to the Jets series, it might have been that game where they came back and swept them, if I had to guess, but it could have been a Vegas game too. I don't exactly remember. Tampa Bay, 0-5 when they don't score first. That's a little surprising as well. So, Game 5, key to the game, score that first goal. Track hard till you take advantage. Play New York Islanders style hockey until you get that first one.
Essentially, what you're saying is when these two teams respectively score first, their combined record is 27-2 or 27-4.
Yeah.
If you're not going for that first goal like it's an overtime winner, I mean, and it makes sense. Both of these teams are so good at playing with the lead. They extend the lead. They like obviously Montreal didn't necessarily extend the lead. I believe Tampa tied it 1-1, or did they go up 2-0 in Game 4?
No, it was 1-0, 1-1.
Yeah, back and forth.
Yeah.
Both teams typically though are pretty good with playing with the lead. They don't blow leads. They both have good defenses, and the goaltending is what really shines for me. But yeah, score first, do whatever you can. You don't want to take a bad penalty early in the game, and that's the biggest key to the series. There's really not much more to it. Tampa Bay's power play needs to be better. So yeah,
I'm with you. And when you get that first goal, you can rely on your goaltending. You can clamp down and play. You can sit back and wait for the other team to make a mistake then, because you're up 1-0. And then you can make it 2-0 if they make a mistake, 3-0, so on and so forth. Tampa Bay especially is so good at it, especially when you have a stud defenseman. Each team has a stud defenseman like Victor Hedman and Shea Weber, who are like so key in those kinds of games that it really doesn't surprise me too much, because I brought up the defenseman. There's Vasilevsky and Price, probably 2 of the 5 best goalies on planet Earth right now. It's very difficult to come back against teams like that, even if it's just 1 goal. So, like you said, 20. What'd you say? 27-4. I'm not good. Yeah, 27-4. I'm not good at math. More importantly, 1-11 when you don't score first. That's horrible. I would never expect that from 2 teams.
Yeah, you would think. You look at a lot of the great teams, like their record. Some of them are even have positive points percentages when allowing the first goal. I know Boston was right around there. But you got to be better when you got to be better at playing from behind. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, I guess that if there's one negative, it's like, okay, I mean, you can't let them score first because you kind of stink when that happens.
Yeah, and you also wonder if they're just such a good team, and this goes for Montreal and Tampa, that if they were just such a good team this year that they like barely allowed the first goal, so they were always so good on pouncing on the other team, you wonder what their records would look like if they just for whatever reason got unlucky and allowed the goal more often. But the fact that they are this bad in those situations in that small sample size is kind of astonishing. Like, you think back to those old Hawk teams and even the Kings and the Penguins, it seems like those teams went down more than they went up.
Yeah, and they're like such good at playing from behind and coming back.
Like, I think of how many times the Hawks tied it with the goalie pulled late and then won it in quadruple overtime. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there were league changes in some of these games, and they just happened to work out where they ended up winning the games they scored first, but you never know. I mean, I would have to go back and look at each individual game specifically.
Yeah, I want to kind of put you on the spot. What player from the Tampa Bay Lightning are you looking at tonight? Like, what player do you expect to have? If the Tampa Bay Lightning want to hoist that Stanley Cup tonight, who are you looking at?
They have a third line of
no chalk. I'm not no chalk. You could say Kucherov, drop a heady, Braden Point scored.
No, I wouldn't even say them anyway, because in pivotal games like this, the key players are always like those guys who get the better matchups. So I'm looking at Barkley, Goodrow, or Blake Coleman. They were the stars of Game 6, or I was either Game 6 or Game 5, whatever they clinched last year against the Dallas Stars. Like, those are the guys who come to play in these types of games, and then you might get an insurance goal from a guy like Nikita Kucherov. But like in 2015, I would think of a guy like Duncan Keith or Brad Richards, or one of the depth guys. In 2013 for the Hawks against the Bruins, it was Dave Boland and Brian Bickle, like just the hard-nosed guys like that who are just supplementing the stars. And for me, it's Blake Coleman in Tampa Bay. I expect him to have a pretty big game tonight.
There was a guy in Game 4, I thought he was the best player on the ice. And
does the last name start with a C?
No. It starts with an M.
Oh, Patty?
No.
Go ahead.
Player on the ice for both teams, I would say, was Ryan McDonough. He was unreal, taking pressure off of Victor Hedman. And when he's on the ice, like, the Tampa Bay Lightning were the better team. He was a factor on both goals. Ryan McDonough, he gets his first tonight, I believe.
He's always showed up in big moments.
Mm-hmm.
Very good at finding a way to get pucks through traffic to the net and allow forwards to kind of bank it in, which could be where a third line type player like Coleman or Goodrow come in. So I agree with you.
His pass to Barkley Goodrow and the whole play that, set that thing up, he was able to poke it away and then move down low, follow up the rebound, and then throw it right in front. Like, that was elite level thinking from Ryan McDonough to make that whole play happen. And he's got to be feeling it now. He's got to be like going into he's got 7 assists. He doesn't have a goal. It's coming.
He's also not the guy on defense for them.
He's not the guy you look at. No,
which really helps him.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a guy like Victor Hedman taking up all the minutes and playing he's playing against the Suzukis and the Caulfields and, all the other teams' best players. You go back to old series like, Barkov or Huberdeau, Sebastian Aho, Teuvo Teravainen. That's all Victor Hedman. And then McDonough gets like the secondary assignment. So it's not like when he was with the Rangers.
No, not at all. And even he takes pressure off like Sergachev. Like there's a lot of eyes on Sergachev, and he's been good. But Ryan McDonough for me has just been the X factor in the Tampa Bay defense.
Not a lot of people know he was actually drafted by the Habs.
Ryan McDonough,
as a prospect, was traded to the New York Rangers.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so he's technically playing against the one team that like truly gave up on him. So,
Did he captain the Rangers?
They traded.
That's what I thought. He was the captain after Ryan Callahan.
They traded both of their captains to Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah, Callahan went to Tampa too.
For Marty St. Louis.
Yeah.
What do you think about the fact that Steven Stamkos had a goal in game number 1 and Braden Point had 3 assists, and neither of them have collected a point since?
It just shows how good the Tampa Bay Lightning are. The fact that they almost were able to win out the series with those guys not doing anything in games 2, 3, and 4. You can't hold that. They're not going to do that forever. Come on now.
Yeah,
and
no,
that was game that. There's only been one other game since then in Tampa Bay at the Emily Arena. That's where tonight is. Like, I just expect. I wouldn't be surprised if we see history from Andrei Vasilevsky. This team, like, he's now closed out 3 straight series, ending on a shutout. That would just be so poetically awesome for Andrei.
4 dating back to last year.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they beat the Dallas Stars in a shutout in game 6 last year.
And what better guy to do it against other than Carey Price? You literally have the best Russian goaltender of our time and the best Canadian goaltender of all time going at it right now in the Stanley Cup final.
The best what of all time?
Canadian goaltender of our time?
Of our time.
Yeah.
Not of all time.
By the time he retires, there will be a claim to Marty and Mr. Watt.
Get out of here.
Which... What a good opening. That could be why Montreal won. That opening, did you see that they honored Guy Lafleur?
Montreal hard.
Yeah, and who was the other guy?
They're right there. They're right there with the Yankees in terms of like being great at honoring their like old players.
Oh yeah,
like
and wasn't it you who said there was bad blood between Waugh and Montreal?
There was when he left, yes.
When he left, but that's all water under the bridge now because I
hope so. It's been freaking 20 years.
The place erupted when they showed us
anything that happened to you 20 years ago. I'm really not.
That's crazy. Montreal has how many Stanley Cups? 24? 23 Stanley Cups.
It is 24. It's either 24 or 23.
I thought it was 24. I don't know.
Okay.
Who cares?
Yeah. What are they? The Yankees?
The 3 players that they showed combined for 17 of their Stanley Cups.
That's actually really funny.
Or something like that. I don't know. It was awesome.
Patrick Waugh is only one of them.
Yeah.
93. Yeah. So Montreal is 4-0 in the playoffs when facing elimination. Tampa Bay is 6-0 after a loss. Something's got to give.
Yeah. Facing elimination, that you're only going to come back. I mean, coming back on a team, don't forget they came back 3-1 on Toronto. That I think that stat is inflated by that. So if there's a stat that I'm putting more stock into, it's definitely the Tampa Bay being undefeated 6-0 after a loss, opposed to facing elimination 4-0. Yeah, no shit. They won 3 straight against Toronto. They never faced elimination against Winnipeg. And they never, and then they faced elimination once against, or no, they never faced against Vegas either. The other one is Monday night. Yep. So I put 0 stock into that. I put all my money into the Tampa Bay Lightning being 6-0 after a loss.
Yeah, so you think they're going to make it 7-0?
Yeah. I said it last week. I said we'll be watching it. I said this is all, I'm back. Predictions are back. Bet the house. Bet the mortgage, bet the car payment, put whatever you want on the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. They will win Game 5.
I cannot wait to clip that later when Montreal wins. The last team in NHL history to force Game 6 after being down 0-3, the 2012 New Jersey Devils. And then they lost Game 6 to the Los Angeles Kings, who would go on to win the first Stanley Cup in franchise history. You say no shot. Montreal becomes the newest, most recent team to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of cool stats. I don't have any of the numbers like exact, but there was a list of teams to actually force. There's only a few teams who have forced Game 7.
Only 4 have ever won, and only one of them was in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, and wasn't it Montreal?
I think Toronto came back and beat the Bruins. I
thought it was Montreal beating the Bruins to come back.
Montreal or the Bruins. One of the Leafs Stanley Cups was when they were down 3-0 in the series. Maybe it was against Montreal.
Yeah. So I know the Bruins were involved. There was something I saw about the Montreal Canadiens coming back when down, and it was against the Bruins.
Yeah. Well, didn't they allowed Philly to do it in 2010?
In the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yes, and then they beat the Hawks or lose to the Hawks in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah,
and then of course, we remember the famous bet that I lost to you that we made at Buffalo Wild Wings.
I've never been more confident.
Yeah, right. You thought that was toast.
That was 14, right?
Yeah, it was 2014.
Yeah, San Jose, Los Angeles. I said going into the series, I was so confident in LA. You were confident in San Jose, and then San Jose goes up 3-0. Did I break confidence?
Was it San Jose, LA? Not San Jose, Anaheim?
Oh, San Jose, LA.
Yeah, you're right. And then LA ended up going on to win the cup as well again.
Yeah. But I want you to recall me never getting worried once.
Joey, for those who don't know, and I had a bet that the San Jose Sharks, I bet the San Jose Sharks would beat the Los Angeles Kings in round number 1. And when I went up 3-0, I was feeling good about that. Thought I was going to have a free meal coming my way.
I was ready to double down.
Joey claims he wasn't worried. Yeah, I was ready to double down. What an absolute muffin top. No shot you actually thought that when you're down 3-0. When only 3 teams in league history had ever done it up to that point. And they still are the most recent. How many years later?
My picks were on fire even back then. 7 years ago.
Yeah, Joey's never worried. Tampa Bay, if they win Game 5, what are the keys?
Scoring first. I'd like to see one of those top guys have something. Steven Stamkos, Braden Point. Can't be all Nikita Kucherov right now in the Stanley Cup final. And Ryan McDonough. Those are my 3 keys.
Okay. And if Montreal were to prove your ass wrong and force Game 6, now don't act like it's impossible. They're playing a hockey game where they put a black thing on the ice and try to put it in the net. If that were to happen, what are the keys for Montreal?
Scoring first. I'll just go ahead and use that for both because we've proven.
Yeah.
Carey Price needs to be at his best, and the special teams. I'll throw special teams for the Montreal Canadiens. Tampa Bay can win without it. Montreal's going to need some power play action. They're going to need the penalty kill to be as big as it was at the end of Game 4, and it's possible. It's very unlikely. Come on, Larry. Hold on. That one hurt. I remember. I was wrong that year, in case you were wondering.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. I need Laura right now to send me a tweet asking me how the Cubs are doing. I need it. I need it like I need air. Because I have some takes about that team. If Montreal wins tonight, will you be scared?
No.
You don't think they have no chance of winning Game 6 back in Montreal, and then we'll see what happens in Game 7? There would be absolutely no thought of that being possible in your head. Assume they win tonight. You're not even.
So you expect the 6-0 win coming off of a loss, Tampa Bay Lightning to just lose?
Say I expect it.
Okay.
I'm asking if you'd be worried if that happened.
I wouldn't, because it was a fluke that they lost one, or they lost 2 in a row. Now you're saying, are the Tampa Bay Lightning going to lose another one?
It's possible.
I'm almost more confident in Game 6 if they lose tonight than I am right now in Game 5.
Have you ever heard of the Russian 5?
Sounds familiar.
It's that Detroit Red Wings team in 1995 through whatever. They won a couple cups. They had like Fedorov and Konstantinov and a bunch of other Ovs. like they were one of the best teams ever. And
That was really funny. A bunch of other obs.
the Devils had Brodeur and Niedermeyer and Danico, and they were like heavy underdogs, like squeaked into the playoffs, never won a series in like 10 years. And they swept the Russian Five in the Stanley Cup final to claim their first ever in history as heavy underdogs. It's just, the thought is there's no such thing as like a lock in sports. Tom Brady's 18-0 New England Patriots lost to that ass New York Football 9-7 looking ass Giants team that made the playoffs by the skin of their tail that year. Nothing's impossible. If Montreal wins tonight, they're going to be feeling damn good going back to their nice little barn they got up there in Quebec.
It would have to be a meltdown by the Tampa Bay Lightning. There's no way all 16 guys just don't show up, and that's what would need to happen.
No, but the reason I'm thinking this way is based on the fact that they are 4-0 in elimination games, and you could say what you want about it being Toronto. Toronto's very good. Toronto is a very good team that always
a meltdown.
They always choke, but they're a very good team. They have Tampa Bay Lightning level talent. Matthews and Tavares line up
not until I see them win a playoff series.
Matthews and Tavares line up nicely with Point and Stamkos, and then Marner lines up nicely with Kucherov. They do.
Not in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs, but they're a great team to be proud of.
Whatever you just said, no, none of those guys match up with Nikita Kucherov.
Matthews?
Not in the playoffs, dude. No way.
Not in the okay, I'm not saying
that's where we're playing.
But I'm talking about pure talent.
Kucherov's better.
Okay, I wouldn't say that, but
130 points, 30 points in the playoffs, 2 years in a row.
50 goals in 50 games.
Kucherov, 130 points in 80 games.
Yeah, I know. 2 years ago. I know. I remember.
Well, guys, 5 minutes each for fighting.
Nikita Kucherov is better than Austin Matthews in every way.
I don't see. No way. You're out of your mind. I can't believe you think that. Just because the Leafs are a colossal collapse of a team, if freaking Matthews,
you have recency bias.
Kucherov. No, I have no recency bias. He's got 30 points in the playoffs for the second year in a row for the third time ever. Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky and Nikita Kucherov have that in common. I know how good the kid is. But if you're telling me you wouldn't take the top line center that could pot 60 goals, I don't believe you for 1 minute. The point I'm trying to make is Montreal beating Toronto is proof that they can beat highly skilled teams, and they beat Vegas. And just the resiliency makes me think that if they were to win tonight, they would start to make people go, oh, no, oh, no.
I will not be saying any of that. That's a fact.
Okay, what if they win Game 6?
What can I do? So confident.
Eat a shoe.
I'll eat my shoe. I will eat my shoe if they win the Stanley Cup. I already said that. And you guys think I'm bullshit? I will cut up my shoe and chew on it if the Montreal Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
If that doesn't cause the audience to just hardcore root for Montreal now, I don't know what to tell you.
I will sit down at a table, put my shoe on a plate, and cut a piece off and eat it. Knife and fork and all. It'll be proper.
I'll let you put hot sauce.
I'll lose a ketchup or something, Sweet Baby Ray's.
That actually doesn't sound too unappetizing. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, and I'll chew on it till I can't. And I'll try to swallow a piece. I'm so confident.
Okay. Well, Joey thinks Montreal has no chance. I personally don't either. I think Tampa's going to win the cup tonight. But
he's Devils. There's a reason he's a Devils fan. Mr. Devil's advocate himself.
If they lose tonight, Tampa Bay, they will be worried, as they should be, is all I'm saying. Because Montreal is that type of team this year. Hey, they're never out of it, even when it looks like they're out of it. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Game 6 would be Friday night, correct?
Yes, sure would.
If Montreal wins tonight, I'll wear a Montreal Canadiens shirt Friday.
All right.
I have one.
Sushi and Canadiens jersey.
Yeah.
Right on deck for Joey.
Yeah.
But if Tampa Bay wins the cup tonight, or if Montreal wins the cup on Monday, or I believe it would be Tuesday, Conn Smythe Trophy winner, in your opinion? You could there's really only one for Montreal, but if you want to lay down 2 or 3 for Tampa Bay, depending on what happens.
I would say for Montreal, I mean, yeah, it all depends on what happens because a lot can happen if Montreal were to win the Stanley Cup. The Conn Smythe Trophy should be me because I would take full credit for them winning, for totally like putting this bad energy out there. And then, no, it'd be Carey Price. There's no way they don't win without Carey Price being what he is. For Tampa Bay, you have a couple options. If Andrei Vasilevsky, like his numbers and his success in especially game-clinching games, like I would love to see him. He's my vote if he gets a shutout tonight, but that's if he has to get a shutout tonight. And it has to kind of be a good shutout. Like if Montreal doesn't show up and they put up 18 shots on goal, no, I want like a 30-something save shutout from Andrei Vasilevsky. He's my guy. That's who I'm voting for. Other than that, you have to go with Nikita Kucherov. He's the one who's been there every single game. This dude, it seems like he's never slumps. He comes back. He's 100%. He's been there since literally game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Pretty much his first shift he showed up. Nikita Kucherov, yeah, regardless, Braden Point's been amazing. What he did is sensational. Nikita Kucherov just has been consistently, this team is on a new level with him in the lineup.
I couldn't agree more on both. I think Nikita Kucherov has it in the bag. Braden Point, he was probably the favorite going into the final, but I think Nikita Kucherov played Braden Point out of it. And not having a goal in the Stanley Cup final will always hurt. It kind of took Patrick Kane out of the conversation in 2015 and elevated Duncan Keith, I remember. That's just one example off the top of my head. There have been many others. I think Nikita Kucherov could win it if they lose. I know that really doesn't happen anymore. But, I mean, Carey Price and Kucherov are my guys.
I would actually love to see that. If, let's say, Montreal does come back and, Carey Price kind of doesn't – he's not really the reason. Like, let's say he wins the Montreal wins 6-5, 4-3, 7-6, like high scoring games where Montreal's or Carey Price's numbers just go super inflated.
Yeah.
I would love to see. I want it to happen at least once in our time, watching it. It hasn't happened since 2003 with Jean-Sebastien Giguère winning it for Colorado or something. Anaheim. Yeah.
They beat they lost to the Devils in the Stanley Cup final, and they gave it to Giguère over Brodeur.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see that happen again. So if Montreal wins, if Nikita Kucherov, but then again, you have to look at the guys who got Montreal there. Nick Suzuki's been awesome. Cole Caulfield's been awesome. Tyler Toffoli, decent. So, I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but yeah.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. So, Stanley Cup final, game number 5 tonight. Game 6 would be Friday. And I want to say game 7 would be Sunday. I know I said Tuesday earlier, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think it would be Sunday.
Sunday at 6 p.m. if necessary.
Yep. So we'll see what happens.
That might not happen. I will miss it.
We might have a Stanley Cup final or a Stanley Cup champion by the end of the day today. So make sure you're following at Vinnie Parise and at Joey Parise on Twitter for all the updates on that. And it's hard to say the Stanley Cup final is a great time, but we'll be able to break down the actual winner and their entire season once the series is over. What were you going to say?
I just want to address the comment from our friends over at the South Burr Pittman. Hey, if I'm free on a Monday night, I would love to come in for a little bit and talk with you guys. I'll bring the same energy, my amazing takes.
I don't know if I want to deal with you for a third show.
Just for a little segment.
I go on the show to get away from you.
Just for a little segment. You would love it. One thing we do agree on is much of our, you have your stupid hockey opinions about, the Devils and Austin Matthews and Barkov being better than Kucherov.
All 32 GMs would rather Austin Matthews than Nikita Kucherov.
With Barkov being better than Kucherov, which kind of makes me throw up a little bit. One thing we agree on and always will agree on is our boys in the South Side and the Black playing at Guaranteed Rate Field. Those are our guys. So
winning 6-1 right now. Not a big deal. And the Cubs have lost 11 straight. Hate to be a fan of that team. And with that, we would like to send you to commercial break, followed by period number 3.
Baseball at the Bar Room. On Monday nights, get ready for the Friendly Confines Extra Innings. It's 30 minutes, it's clever, it's concise, and it's all Cubs coverage. That's followed by a killer White Sox show, South Burbs Hitmen. Then on Thursday afternoon, it's Cubs and Sox opinions and analysis with Crosstown Crosstalk. Baseball at the Bar Room. Join us live and or on demand.
White Sox fans to this day wanted A.J. Hinch. Tony La Russa haters that would rather have a guy that fixed the playoffs and World Series in season than Tony La Russa. And I have a huge problem with that. I do. Don't go preaching about, okay, he drank and this and that, and he shouldn't have done this, he shouldn't have done that. You guys wanted A.J. Hinch, and you're going to talk to me about Tony La Russa.
And welcome to period number 3. That commercial always gets me going. One day I'm going to have a debate with Mike North. I want to talk to him about some Tony La Russa action, because I'm actually starting to agree with him a little more as time goes on.
Yeah, I would like to talk, gambling with him. But another quick comment I want to mention is it made me think of it. I don't know how we can start the show off like this. One of my favorite events in sports, every year, 4th of July, the Nathan's hot dog eating competition. I'm a huge fan of the MLE. If you're not familiar, that's the Major League Eating. We saw Joey Chestnut set a world record, 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes. The South Burb Hitman would like to see a hot dog eating contest between the brothers. I mean, I would destroy you. I think I could eat 30 in 10 minutes.
You can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yeah. But yeah, hot dog eating
30 an hour
between us. Like, let's make it happen. But yeah, congrats to Joey Chestnut, the best competitive eater currently in the world.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch on 4th of July. One thing that wasn't fun that came out of 4th of July was the death of Mattis Kivlin. I don't even know how to say it.
Perfectly before the show.
Kivlenix. I know, because I got a brain fart right there. Mattis Kivlenix. I said it perfectly because he actually played a couple games against the Devils. Like, I knew exactly who he was. He's their 3rd string goalie. He took a firework to his chest area while celebrating 4th of July over in Michigan, and he was hospitalized, and then he was pronounced dead once he made it to the hospital. You never like to hear about stuff like this. He was an up-and-coming 24-year-old goaltender playing for an organization that probably could have used his services over the next couple years. But besides the point, we feel heartbroken for Kivlenix's family and friends and all that kind of stuff. So our hearts go out to his mom and dad who had to come from across the pond to deal with this. And we wish them prayer and peace, and hopefully they can find just a reason to slightly smile over the next couple days as people continuously online talk about how good of a person he was and how he always liked to smile and his successes on the ice.
Yeah, it honestly was tragic news. It made the entire NHL take a pause. We saw it at the beginning of the Stanley Cup final and, reflect on his life and wish the family nothing but condolences. He traveled to Novi, Michigan with teammate Elvis Merzlikins for the 4th of July. And they had a party and a get-together at the house of the goalie coach for the Blue Jackets, Manny Legace. And I believe he was in a hot tub is what I heard when an errant mortar struck him in the chest, and they called 911, and then it went downhill from there. So it's just tragic news. it makes the whole hockey world and sports world take a pause and wish their condolences to the family of however you say. How do you say it?
Kiv Lennox. I apologize for messing it up early. I had it down, but
I keep
we always heard of him as Kiwi.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to call him Kiwi when mourning his loss. So, but I mean, regardless, it's sad because
he played 2 games in early May as well against the Detroit Red Wings. So he did play this year for them.
Yeah.
So
it's tough to see. He had an extremely bright future ahead of him. If anything, he would have gotten to at least play goalie at the pro level to some degree. And you never like to see that kind of stuff. I know Columbus has Korpisalo and Merzlikins, and we don't know what's going to go on with them going forward, especially based on performance and all that. So Kiv Lennox might have gotten an opportunity, and now it's all for naught. And we hope his family is doing all right. And, it's a difficult time. There's really no easy way to put it when stuff like this happens, but we know the NHL world is mourning him. And you go on Twitter after it starts coming out, and you got guys like Cam Atkinson and Seth Jones and, just anyone associated with the Blue Jackets, and even people who just knew him throughout the league, just talking about his smile and how nice of a guy it was. It always seems like it happens to the nice guys, and it just really sucks, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, NHL and hockey players in general kind of have a stigma of just being good humans, and I believe it was exemplified perfectly with Kiwi, we'll call him, and our condolences to him.
Yep, we hope the Blue Jackets are able to mourn him properly next season, and hopefully the fans can pay him a nice little tribute.
Oh, it'll be an emotional opening for the Blue Jackets.
He was a good dude.
Yeah.
So we move on. NHL draft. They had a little bit of a media session amongst the prospects available in the upcoming 2021 NHL draft, and I wanted your thoughts on a couple things. Owen Power is set to meet with the Buffalo Sabres tomorrow. For those who don't know, the Buffalo Sabres have the first overall pick in the 2021 NHL draft. And Owen Power, for a long time, was considered the consensus number 1 pick. But over the pandemic and lack of scouting and emergence of others, the top 5 can really go in any order at this point. But I do think that him meeting with Buffalo tomorrow is significant. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who else Buffalo chooses to meet with, if Owen Power is going to be the only guy.
If they're smart, they'll interview them all.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm thinking is just Owen Power happens to be the first one. Maybe he still is looked at as the number 1 guy in most people's opinions. Who knows? But I'd be shocked if they don't also talk to some of those other top 5 guys. But I mean, if you're Owen Power, like, you're excited. All you want to do is just make it to the NHL. At this point, you don't care who takes you. So, I mean, we'll see where it goes from there. I'm sure they'll discuss their plan moving forward and pretty much see if he'd be a good fit for them.
I believe Owen Power is one of 3 players from Michigan who will go in the top 5. 2 of them are already attending Michigan, and 1 is set to. And then there's, of course, Kent Johnson, who will probably be a top 15, top 10 type guy, who will also attend Michigan next season. That has to be a Vinnie and Joey destination to make a video for the show, right? If they have 4 legit NHL players playing on their team next season, it's not like Ann Arbor's too far from where we live.
Yeah, that would be fun. I've always wanted to go see a college hockey game too. So it's something we've never been able to see with our own 2 eyes. What better time than then?
And I think, if we could get some content out of it, I think it would really benefit this show, because not a lot of people realize this. Me and Joey both love college hockey. We both love junior hockey, and it helps us grow our knowledge of the game. And it's a lot easier when you're paying attention to it hardcore like we do. And we didn't get much of that this season. A lot of our show came in the second half of the season when they were just starting to let fans back in, and the Stanley Cup playoffs were just getting underway. There wasn't much college hockey news, but once October rolls around, me and Joey are going to go at this as if it was, pre-COVID, talking about the game in every way possible. And college hockey is going to be no different. So I highly encourage people to check out some of these Michigan prospects, because that team's going to be fun.
Yeah. And speaking of college hockey, I'll just give a quick update on the Bruins assistant coaching staff.
Hold that thought. I have the Kraken in their entire coaching thing as an entire.
Yeah, we'll let this lead into that because this.
I have one more thing on the draft.
Oh.
Luke Hughes is one of those Michigan players, and William Eklund is from Sweden, and they both had some pretty nice things to say about the Devils, who have the 4th pick. And I'm curious if you think this has any weight, because Eklund was a line mate with Alexander Holtz, who the Devils drafted 7th overall last year. And then, of course, Luke's older brother, Jack, was the 1st overall pick in the 2019 draft and is, I would consider him a franchise player. He has the chance to be an elite player. Do you think there's any weight to what these guys are saying? Basically saying it would be a dream come true, or their borderline hope to fall to number 4 and be selected by the Devils?
Yeah, and you got to think for both of these guys, it is their hope. Because you mentioned it when we talked with Nick from Pucks and Pitchforks. Like, the Devils have a lot of ties to at least all of the top 5 guys, right? Or top 4 guys. They have
three of the 5.
3 of the 5. So they got ties to them. I still think Luke is the guy for them. You want to get Luke. With the whole brother thing, it could elevate Luke's game. It could elevate Jack's game to that next level. Yeah, I'm sure the guys who have ties would rather go there than. And plus, the future. I'd rather still the New Jersey Devils' future to me is way brighter than Buffalo.
Yeah, I can get down with that, especially if they trade Eichel.
Yeah, there's bad blood with Eichel, and then behind Eichel and Dahlin, Ristolainen's good, but really, who else you got? So yeah, I definitely like the future of the New Jersey Devils better. I would say even like the future of the New Jersey Devils better than the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, you have some stuff on the Kraken, because we're going to get into some of what you just talked about in terms of the future. Kraken coaches?
No, I had nothing on the Kraken yet. I just wanted to say about college hockey. Jay Pandolfo leaves the Bruins coaching staff to be the head coach of Boston University. So that leaves a gap in the Bruins coaching staff. I had a segue all planned out in my head and you fucked it up. That leaves a hole in the Bruins coaching staff where one would think that it was ready for Providence Bruins head coach Jay Leach to step up and be an assistant coach at the NHL level, but Jay Leach had other plans.
Yeah, I mean, what are Jay Leach's other plans?
I thought that was your cue to go. Jay Leach is now the assistant coach under head coach Dave Hackstall for the Seattle Kraken. They now have 2 coaches on the books, and I'm excited for Jay Leach to get his shot in the NHL as an assistant coach.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to be in charge of the defense and penalty killing. So, and obviously with the Bruins, all that stuff was quite good. So Seattle's in good hands. And I also have a note about how the Chicago Blackhawks officially purchased, instead of just being an affiliate, they purchased the Rockford Ice Hogs. So it's always fun going to Ice Hogs games. I know you enjoy it. Mm-hmm. They've been their affiliate since the 2007-2008 season, and some good things have come. In Jeremy Colleton's last year there, they made a deep run in the playoffs, and then they ended up hiring him on to replace Joel Quenneville.
They made a very deep run, losing in the Calder Cup Finals to the Carolina Hurricanes affiliate. No,
you're thinking of the Wolves.
It was the Wolves?
Yeah.
Almost a good fact, Paul.
Yep. No, you stink. But I mean, that's what we do on this show. I give facts. Joey gives some weird opinion that no one agrees with, and then every now and then he hits and he brags about it for a week. So, what do you got on the Ice Hogs?
I got nothing to say to that.
Give me something on the Ice Hogs right now.
Yeah, they got those cool little like hog noses you can buy.
I hate you. The Ice Hogs are actually probably not going to be that good next year. I'm very down on the Blackhawks organization. I know we didn't have a very Blackhawk heavy podcast this week because of the Stanley Cup final, and really the news will start to pick up around them over the next week or two as the draft, expansion draft, and free agency. The Hawks are going to be heavily involved in all that, and it'll be more of a rumor-based and show for basically the rest of the summer before we start evaluating what we actually see on the ice come August, September. But I'm just not very high on the Blackhawks organization right now. They do a lot wrong. They make a lot of stupid decisions. They let a lot of bad people stick around and write them letters of recommendation to go do horrible things. It's It's not cool over there right now, and I really don't expect the Ice Hogs to be that good just because the talent is all at the NHL level, and it's really not even all that good up there either. So, and that kind of brings us to our 2022 Stanley Cup odds. The 2021 Stanley Cup final is not even over yet, and we already have odds for next year. Now, this list is according to SiriusXM. Their Twitter page put out this little graphic or whatever you want to call it with the odds. The Colorado Avalanche, as of right now, have the best odds at plus 500, which is very interesting because the current Stanley Cup finalists, Montreal Canadiens, are plus 2,000, and then you got Tampa Bay at plus 700. As you look at this list, you notice a couple teams tied at the bottom for the last with plus 10,000, one of them being the expansion Seattle Kraken. I'd like to know where on this list you see value, where you see a team that might actually suck in terms of like a team that shouldn't be that high, kind of Montreal for me. I'd like to know your thoughts on this.
All right. So, yeah, a team where I see value is there's a couple. One of them is going to be very chalk. And you could say, Santiago just said, what are the odds for the Bruins to choke? It's plus 1,400, Santiago. I would smash that. That's kind of low, for the Boston Bruins. They're a good team. They're up at the top every single year, and I expect nothing different next year, especially if they re-sign Taylor Hall. We'll see what happens with their goaltending situation, but it will get figured out, I believe. I like the Bruins at plus 14. I also really like the New York Islanders at plus 2,000. That team just seems to always get it done. They're a solid team. And we saw what they did this year and the success they had, and plus 2,000, that to me screams great value, along with the Minnesota Wild at plus 22. Like, these teams are good hockey teams, and I don't think this list gives them enough credit.
That's who I was going to say.
The Wild?
The Minnesota Wild, because they're going to be in the Jack Eichel sweepstakes. If you could get them at plus 2,200 right now, and then they trade for Eichel and they shoot all the way up into that triple-digit range instead of being a quadruple-digit, like, you'll have incredible value. Like, if there was a time to jump on the Wild, it's now. I look at a team like the Blackhawks, and I legitimately think every team below them on the list has a better chance of winning the Stanley Cup than them.
Yeah, there's one team that's
better. Ottawa's going to take a jump. The Kings are going to take a jump. The Coyotes are better, in my opinion. The Sharks are the Sharks. I'm not high on Buffalo right now. Buffalo might be the only team that has an actual worse chance than the Blackhawks. But if the Red Wings and Devils start bringing in some young talent that ends up reaching their ceiling or whatever, or Nico Hischier, Dylan Larkin, those guys play out of their mind. And, of course, the Seattle Kraken, they could build a Stanley Cup team in the expansion draft. We saw it literally 3 years ago. So pretty much every team besides Buffalo, below the Hawks, I see having a better season.
Two teams I don't like. There are two of the top three. I don't like Colorado at plus 500 only because, granted, I think Colorado, they are probably my pick. They're probably my pick to win it all, but the Stanley Cup is so hard to win, and I don't think that's a good enough payout. So I wouldn't touch Colorado. Another team that I think is high for good reason, but you kind of have to look at the future, is the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are currently $16 million over the cap. They have a huge offseason ahead of them. Who knows what's going to happen? Plus 700 seems a little high for a team that's going to look a little different next year.
They might make a big trade 3 days after winning the Cup.
They pretty much have to. That is going to be –
their Duckboat might play for a new team.
Yeah. If you're the Tampa Bay Lightning, you really don't care about that right now. You want to win the Stanley Cup, and then you deal with that when you have to. If you can be back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, no matter what your team looks like next year, it's been a win these past 2 years. But plus 700 is an awful high price or awful low price, I guess you should say, for a team that is going to look $16 million different next year.
I couldn't agree more. Looking at some of the other teams with value, the Blues. I don't think the Blues are a terrible pick.
They're right under them, the Dallas Stars. They got their funk going just a little bit too late this year. Full 82-game season. They were in the Stanley Cup last time it happened. I think the Dallas Stars are a great hockey team. At plus 3,300 is a little high for me. Value there.
Absolutely. Now, what are your thoughts on the Kraken being plus 10,000, tied with some of the worst teams in the league?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Kraken are better than every other plus 5,000 or higher team. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. But, I mean, going into it, they don't even have a roster, so I guess you have to set it right now at that.
Yeah, I actually don't think the Kraken are going to be like Vegas good. I'm not even going as far to say as they're going to be a playoff team. But, yeah, like, I'm not going to eat my words like I did back with Vegas, that's for sure.
Yeah, but you have to keep in mind they have to set it at plus 10,000 because not only are you betting on them to win a cup, you're betting on them to have a good expansion draft because that hasn't even happened yet.
Exactly. You might see those shoot way up if someone like Taylor Hall goes, you know what, I want to sign with the Kraken.
Yeah, come October, if Kraken has like on paper what looks to be a competitive roster, like there's no way they're plus 10,000.
Yeah. They're going to be set up nicer than a lot of the teams in their price range in terms of Stanley Cup odds for 2022.
Yeah.
What do you?
There's going to be one maniac who puts $1,000 on them right now, and
they're in the second round, and it's like this guy's got 10 grand on him. He's going to be a millionaire if they win the cup. It happened with Vegas. It was all over the news multiple times. Like even just picking them to win the conference, if that's plus 5,000, I would consider it.
Exactly.
Yeah, those are the odds. Do you think it's kind of weird looking at odds for the upcoming season when the current one hasn't even concluded yet?
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, what's weird to me is how much these teams are going to change in the offseason. Like, it's not, astronomically, but these teams are going to make moves and look a little different come October. So we're betting on them what we think they're going to look like, but really, who knows? At plus 700, you have no idea what the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to look like next year.
I'm a little surprised to see the Devils that low. It kind of hurt my feelings a little bit.
I mean, they were right down there with Buffalo this year.
I know. Fourth overall, they're the third best odds.
Yeah, so what do you expect?
I expect a full season of Nico. I expect Jack to take another step. Mackenzie Blackwood's a really good goalie. We don't know who the other goalie is going to be. We'll see what happens in the expansion draft with PK and Miles Wood. And, I mean, the roster's not great, but 10,000? Really?
I mean, I'm a little mad that the Bruins have the same odds as the Leafs.
Dude, you just don't give the Leafs enough credit ever. They choke in the playoffs, like lately. But one of these days, it's going to end. Like, do you think this core has zero chance of winning the cup ever?
The cup? Yeah, I do, actually.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, there were people like you, like who's a big rival that always smashed the Cubs? The Cardinals. There were people that when Baez and Bryant and Rizzo and those guys came in there, but this team never going to win. They sucked for 100 years. They choke in the playoffs, and you got Billy Goats and Bartman and, weird shit going on in 2008 against the Dodgers. It's hard for me to just be like, yeah, they have no chance to ever win it based on the past playoff history. Every year is different. Like the Blues overcame it. The Capitals overcame it.
Yeah, but I don't know. The Leafs just too many holes.
They're not an elite team to you?
They're an elite scoring team, yeah. I don't think they're elite defensively. I don't think Jack Campbell's the answer. I said a while ago Freddie Anderson wasn't the answer, and everyone called me stupid. And look, he's not even the starter anymore.
You were until this year.
The point is, I was.
Yeah, but eventually guys fall off.
Fall off? Well, Freddie Anderson's just out of his prime?
Pretty much.
Yeah, what a joke. They had a two-year window to win the Stanley Cup with Freddie Anderson? And no. When
you have three guys making $10 million or more, yeah. They need to make a big move like that. And if I'm the Toronto Maple Leafs right now, I trade one of my $10 million guys. Sorry.
Okay.
See you later. I'm getting two defensemen worth $5.
And how much will that, up their odds to win the Stanley Cup without the good thing that they have?
Well, it depends what they bring back.
Yeah. Well,
if they
was not the answer. Freddie Anderson never was the answer.
Why can't Campbell be again?
I just don't see it. He was a backup for a reason for a very long time.
I don't know. It's one of the best goalie free agent classes of all time. I would have to go pull up the list. Maybe we could have a an entire goalie free agent period on one of our upcoming shows. But I mean, the Leafs are not a bad team. They deserve to be in like that first column.
Not as good as the Bruins.
The Bruins have one significant issue, though, that the Leafs don't have. We don't know who's going to start for the Bruins on game 1 of the regular season. You might think you know.
I know exactly who it is.
You think it's going to be Jeremy Swayman.
110%. It's not even a question. I would bet.
But if someone in training camp outperforms them, they're not going to be like, oh, well, we got to give it to Jeremy Swayman. He's earned it.
Jeremy.
It's Tuukka Rask, no matter what.
If Tuukka, yeah. Jeremy Swayman.
Tuukka Rask had a bad training camp, he'd still be their starter on opening day. That's where I'm going with it. But Tuukka Rask probably won't even sign a contract.
He will.
Yeah, in November.
How does that work if you're having surgery and you're hurt?
Just bad timing, dude. He could sign.
Yeah, but
I'll be back in January.
I have another question, and this I was thinking about this earlier before we wrap it up here. I'll use the Bruins as an example, but I'm sure there's a lot of teams who can potentially do the same thing. Is it possible for Don Sweeney, general manager of the Bruins, to sit down with Taylor Hall and be like, all right, Taylor, we want to re-sign you. We don't want to re-sign you yet. We want to wait till after the expansion draft so we don't have to protect you. Is that possible and legal for Taylor Hall to agree to wait to sign with the Bruins until after the expansion draft so he can ride past the expansion draft as a free agent and then choose to sign with the Bruins?
I'm assuming it's not.
Who is stopping it, though?
I mean, if you get caught, it's tampering.
That would be tampering?
No, but here's the thing, though. There's that week period where they're allowed to talk now. That became a thing like 3 years ago. So I don't know what the exact week period is because the expansion draft is literally a couple days before free agency, if I remember correctly.
It's the 21st, and the teams need to have their list submitted the 17th.
My guess is the negotiation period is between the 22nd and the 30th.
I mean, wouldn't that be genius if
Don Sweeney
said, Taylor, we want to re-sign you. We're going to give you we're going to pretty much print out the contract, but before we sign it, we don't want you part of our club. You're technically just going to be a free agent. Will you have your word that no matter who calls your agent, no matter who calls you, you're not going to sign with anyone else. You're going to sign with us, but we don't want you on our team for the expansion draft.
Yeah, the only reason I could see that working is because of the fact, with or without the tampering thing, Bobby Orr is Taylor Hall's agent, who, for those of you who live under a rock, might not know that Bobby Orr is the greatest Boston Bruin player of all time.
Yeah.
And now he's their agent. I'm pretty sure he's still the agent. I could be wrong, but he was.
He is. I believe he is, and I believe he's the agent for a lot of guys.
Yeah, but Taylor's like the big free agent, upcoming,
Which I think I heard Bobby Orr still has the fastest overtime goal in Stanley Cup.
Seconds.
40 seconds, I think.
I thought it was 19.
It was like 40. I don't know. They said it at the beginning of Game 4, and that's all I cared about. I was like, you better not fucking score it within quicker than Bobby Orr. I want to keep that.
You're ridiculous.
But yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that, and I was like, if that's possible to not sign Taylor Hall or any of your, it doesn't even have to be Taylor Hall, any of your unrestricted free agents, if it's possible to not sign them before the expansion draft and wait, why not?
I agree.
Yeah.
You got any plans tomorrow at 2:00?
Yeah, I'll be out on a boat.
This freaking guy.
I will actually be here providing some quality baseball talk, crosstown crosstalk, 2 p.m. every single Thursday with you talking White Sox and Cubs.
We are going to start the show talking about the Lightning if they win the Cup or Montreal if they force Game 6. I want you to have to share with our baseball and all sports fans your thoughts on that for at least 5 minutes.
Oh, gladly.
So those of you who are watching this for the hockey, make sure you tune into that tomorrow because we're going to address some of the predictions made today with a quick 24-hour turnaround. No doubt about it. And I promise White Sox fans, as Andrew Vaughn catches the final out of the game and the White Sox win 6-1, for yet another win over the stinky Minnesota Guppies. I think White Sox fans are going to enjoy the show. Cubs fans are going to hate my guts by the end of it because I'm going to tell you guys what you need to hear.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, a little preview of what I'm sure we're both going to get rid of everyone. Sell the house, sell the stadium, sell the.
Go to Guaranteed Rate Field instead. It's more fun anyway.
It is a good time. I'll be there. Next Friday, not this Friday. Astro.
Probably be there a bunch in the second half, making stupid videos and stuff. But this hockey season's been fun. We appreciate Aldo and the bar room, everyone for welcoming us in. This is probably our last show. No, no matter what, is our last show of BarDown Blackhawk Talk before the end of the season, like with actual live games to talk about. Next show there'll be there'll be games to talk about, but that'll be it for previewing stuff. It'll be all off-season stuff, basically outside of one period of the show. So, we appreciate the platform to talk about the great game. It is me and Joey's number one game. I think baseball is really close, but we love hockey and we love sharing the knowledge and cracking jokes and talking about Joey's stupid predictions with the Leafs and the Habs, like him being a homer. Laro making fun of the Bruins. That actually kind of cracked me up a little bit, even though I kind of like the Bruins. We thank you for watching.
Yeah. What?
I literally laid it on a platform for you to say something where you confused the director.
I mean, yeah. We love doing this. We couldn't be happier than we have this platform to talk hockey with everyone, and we got a great, group of team members here at the Barroom Network, and I'm excited to keep this going all summer long. But as of right now, go Tampa Bay Lightning, and let's finish this off.
Absolutely. We're going to be able to talk shit about hockey for even if it's just telling stories about our favorite games and stuff. We're also getting ready to watch our last couple games ever on NBC. Not a lot of people are talking about that because the expansion draft is going to be on ESPN. I don't know what the NHL draft is going to be on. I'm assuming it's either TNT or one of the Turner networks, but I don't know. It's been a lot of fun talking about actual games this season. We thank everyone for watching. And if you're not following at Joey Parise and at Vinnie Parise on Twitter, I don't know what to tell you because you're missing out on some hilarious content. Me making fun of Joey for being stupid. And like I said, for everyone who watches, thank you for listening.